What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the God's Business Podcast. My name is Jonathan. I am your host. And in this video, we basically go over how God will lead you in your business. Whether you're starting a business now, you've been doing business in a while, and maybe you're going through a pivot. So today I meet with Marcus McMorris. He is a bookkeeper and accountant here in the Orlando area, and God has taken him from owning cell phone businesses to vending machine businesses to basically being an employee. And now he has went off on his own. And we talk about that challenge and what that looks like when you really submit you and your business to God. So with that, let's get into it.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Marcus McMorris, your favorite financial therapist, savvy bookkeeper, and this is God's Business Podcast.
So, I appreciate you coming by, and I appreciate you, it's super cool that how we met. Like, for those who are watching, like the way we met was I don't even know how. Like,
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah.
But how, I sent the ad and, we talked, and I was just like, wow, I had no idea. I had no idea we'd be in this position right now. And that's how, honestly, if I were to say anything about this podcast, it's been exactly that.
Good.
Every bit of that, I'm meeting people out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And God is putting people in my way to basically tell their story and to glorify Him. And so that's really what the goal of this podcast is, where we bring faith-based entrepreneurs together to talk about, I love to learn. Right. And I'm so curious about a lot of people's lives. I mean, I have my own life, but I'm more curious about yours. And so I think, and of course we can have multiple episodes to do all kinds of things. And my goal is to help shed some light on how God maybe has worked in your life and your business. So I appreciate you being here.
Man, thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. So for those who may not know, who you are, Marcus, why don't you tell them your name and then what you do for your business?
Gotcha. Hello, everyone. My name is Marcus McMorris. I am the CEO of Upkeep Bookkeeping. We are a bookkeeping firm that offers bookkeeping services to other small businesses and real estate investors here in the Orlando, Florida area. Yeah.
Small bit real estate investors. That's a huge deal down here.
Yeah, it is. There's
a lot of real estate going on over here. Yeah. So how's business going?
For these last, I would say 6 months of business have probably been the most exciting of my business. I got really serious about creating content curated around the services that I offer, which opened up a lot of doorways for me to meet other business owners and even people like you. Mm-hmm. So a lot of that exposure and awareness that I've been bringing to the brand has opened up a lot of doors of opportunity to work with other business owners. And it's been exciting. Yeah. It's been super exciting. Just seeing the stress that is relieved from a business owner because now their finances are in order. Dude. Oh man.
Yeah.
That is just gold for me.
Dude. Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, so for example, I have a CPA, mm-hmm. but I don't know if that's the same as a bookkeeper.
Gotcha.
Can you for some who made mm-hmm. Might already have an accountant doing their taxes, is it the same mm-hmm. thing as what you're doing or different?
So a CPA can do bookkeeping, but generally speaking, their goal isn't that.
Okay.
They're more focused on tax strategy for the most part. And so a CPA, I will say this confidently, me as a bookkeeper, I could beat your CPA with bookkeeping any day. And It's because I'm in the software and I'm doing it every day, where they're only doing it once out of the year for a few months.
This is true. And so the benefit of that is your taxes will be better at the end of the year, typically?
Absolutely, because now you're keeping track of the deductions that are necessary and ordinary for your business. And you also notice a lot of CPAs have a bookkeeper or either one that they recommend or they partner with, because when it comes tax time, when they're gathering all the documents to file a business owner's taxes, it's already there and laid out for them.
Dude. That's exciting.
It is.
So you're, do you also know the tax code and know all that as well?
I do. I'm not a tax expert. I will say that, but as a business owner, being in the accounting field itself, I do and am familiar with some of the very common tax deductions and strategies that a lot of people use.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
So it's super cool because you're accounting for all these things, mm-hmm. and you're making sure the numbers match and you're making sure everything's sort of lined up so that, entrepreneurs and business owners can just, go out there and just really serve.
Yeah. Absolutely.
a little bit more effective.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. That's cool, man. And how long have you been doing that?
So let's see. I've been in accounting 4 years now. A little over 4 years actually, but I've been running my own bookkeeping business for over 2 years now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell me about how it started. Like what led you to start that?
So business ownership itself kind of started in college.
Yeah. Okay.
I never really saw myself in a position of business ownership because that wasn't my ideal of success or the path of success for me. I saw it as, me going to school, graduating with my accounting degree, getting my CPA and working up the corporate ladder to CFO in a big company. That was like my idea of success, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And I remember having this conversation vividly with my girlfriend, and she goes, what do you want to do after you graduate?
Right.
And this was my junior year of college. She graduated the year before I did. And I go, well, my ideal of success is being a CFO in a big company. And she goes, I see you doing so much more than that.
Wow.
And just those words itself kind of like started stirring something up inside of me, like in a very positive way. And then she asked the question, have you ever thought about going into business for yourself? I see you being a business owner.
Yeah.
And I was like, I never really thought about that. I never put a lot of thought behind being a business owner.
Yeah.
And she was like, I think things will change. And by the grace of God, they did.
Wow.
They did. So in college, my first business was a cell phone repair business.
Okay.
And so I was friends with a lot of football players and athletes and things of that nature. And a lot of I noticed not only them, but a lot of the college students walked around with busted cell phones.
Okay.
And my girlfriend, she said, I had a friend who actually used to repair cell phones when he was attending college here. Maybe you should start doing that.
Wow.
I did some quick Google research on some tools I may need to fix a phone or repair. And I already know that there were kiosks in the mall that do the same thing.
Right.
What is the process behind that?
Yeah.
Watched a few YouTube videos and I was like, I know for a fact I can do this.
Okay.
I had an old iPhone 5C.
Okay.
This is an old phone. This is when they had the different colors, the one camera, the smaller camera on the back. And I used that phone to practice and fixed it because the screen was already broken on that one. So I found a third-party supplier who sold cell phone screens on the black market.
Okay.
And I bought one of the screens to test it out, fixed the phone, and I was like, oh, it's game time. And as a college student, you can imagine I was broke. I didn't have a lot of money.
Wow.
Most of the money I had went to bills, and that was it. I had nothing left over at the end of the month.
Right.
The first 2 weeks after letting my friends know that I was fixing phones, I made this quick flyer on Canva, sent it to them, was posting it on my Instagram. The first 2 weeks, I made an extra $800.
Dude, wow. How many is that? 8 phones? Or?
Yeah, it was 10 phones.
10 phones?
I fixed.
Dang. Okay.
I extra $800, and that then got me curious about the opportunities you can kind of create for yourself by offering a service or a product to other people who actually need it or are looking for it. Then I went more legit and started a vending machine business.
Okay.
So this was actually registered LLC back in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Okay.
I had a vending machine in a barbershop and one in an apartment complex. And the great thing about owning a vending machine business, it works 24/7. That's the thing. I don't have to supervise it.
Right.
You know what I mean? You do your traditional employees, your supervising employees or, giving them tasks to do or whatever the case may be.
Right.
Didn't have to do that with a vending machine. I filled it up once every month and a half, collected the funds from it, make sure it was clean. Anything that was out of stock, I restocked it. And I was like, man, I can really increase some revenue here if I get a few more vending machines. But the key here is if you do have a vending machine business or thinking about it, you want to have your machines in high traffic locations like barbershops, apartment complexes, salons, things of that nature, right?
Yeah.
But I was getting ready. The only problem was I was getting ready to graduate.
Oh, okay.
And once I graduated, I was already having recruiters reach out to me about certain roles. And I didn't intend on moving to Florida, but I ended up getting a role as an accountant to come to Florida, and they moved me out the next month after I graduated.
Oh, they paid for the move and everything?
They paid for the move and everything.
Wow, okay.
And so before I left, I actually I sold the vending machines and terminated the business because ideally I wanted to give it to one of my brothers or a friend and sell the business to them, and they could keep it and start making money themselves. But I didn't have anybody that was interested at the time or had the time or flexibility to do so. So the next best thing was to sell the equipment and then terminate the business. And so I did that.
Okay.
And then fast forward, moving to Florida, after my second year here, I knew I wanted to be able to create an extra stream of income for myself, because after experiencing COVID and being let go from my position there, I knew I didn't want my financial stability to just be in the hand of another company.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm never doing that again. I'm never just putting all my eggs in one company again.
Yeah.
To be let go, and now I'm worrying about where I'm going to get my next paycheck. And I had people who were reaching out to me knowing that I was an accountant about their bookkeeping. Like, hey, do you have any tips here? Any tricks? Any strategies that I can take advantage of?
Sorry.
No, you're fine. And it's like, I don't know what I'm doing here in the realms of bookkeeping. I don't understand a debit and a credit. I don't understand if my charter accounts are set up correctly. I don't understand what software I need to be using. And that birthed the whole business, Upkeep Bookkeeping, which
Upkeep Bookkeeping.
Upkeep Bookkeeping. And it's the upkeep of your business. You want to upkeep the financial aspect of your business, because that's where you're going to be able to make more informed decisions in regard to your business, because you know your numbers.
Yeah.
And 2 years later, we're still here and we're rolling. So
nice.
It's been a fun ride. It has been a fun ride, I will say. It's been challenging, has its ups and its downs. I've had my fair share of mistakes, like any business owner probably will go through. But I'm really excited about just being a good steward of the business.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Dude, that's awesome. That's awesome. So from snacks to accounting.
Yeah. From snacks to accounting. Yeah.
Yeah. From phone to snacks to accounting. That's exciting, bro. Like, so it sounds like, believe it or not, like I've actually heard somebody like in between a vending machine and ATM. Yeah. Like they were like, oh, because those are like a similar kind of business models.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And it's cool to see that, because like what I hear when you're telling me that story is like, I'm hearing that, something, and I believe like God may have created you as a entrepreneur, like at the core, because we are all similar in that way. Like we're always having like this passionate desire to create. Because we are made in the image of God, which is our creator, right? Yeah. And so it's us who are like sort of like that. I look at it like entrepreneurs are kingdom builders, right? And so we're building sort of like the kingdom, for God.
Absolutely.
And look, the way I see it is like he's each one of your businesses have like played a specific role in your development as a kingdom builder or entrepreneur. Because your first business was like, the phone business, which
it was a side hustle.
Yeah, side hustle, but it showed you that you can make a lot of money very short period of time. Yeah. And you could like do it on your own. Like, and then your second business was like a level up from that, where it's like, okay, well, I can make a lot of money here, but I'm doing all the work. Now I can make a lot of money without doing the work. Yep. Then you started figuring out how to like understand the marketplace, how to serve. Yeah. Right. It's like you learned how to grow and do something of value. Right. You learned how to serve. And then, then you even went to the accounting, which, I mean, I went to corporate as well at one point and went to the accounting side at the company. Right. But then you started to realize like, the not entrepreneurial side of it, like the I don't know, the golden handcuffs or the slavery, like the slavery of like the income, like you're relying on this one person or this one company to like fund you. And if that's just cut, you're sort of like, you're not in a good situation. And then you started to understand your skill set and then coming back to entrepreneurship. So like, man, that's such a cool story. And I feel like you're helping, and then your passion to see the light in people when relief, I guess you're relieving a pain for business owners who are also building, for the kingdom itself. And so Man, that's exciting to hear. Do I have that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You
Okay.
do.
Cool, man. Cool. So why don't you tell me, like, throughout that story, throughout your story, it's not really throughout your life, right? I guess your life is your story, but throughout your story, how has God played a role in your and in those sort of changes and those developments itself? Like, a lot of times I hear, and myself included, is like, there's period of like struggle or not really like understanding what to do, and then just leaning on God and He opens the door for you. Or has it been something like that, or something similar or different?
It has been because I didn't have the guidance, of what it was to be in business for myself.
Okay.
What business ownership really looked like.
Yeah.
Most people in my family, they work jobs. Not a lot of them own businesses. And the ones that have, I haven't been taken under their wing to actually, understand the ins and outs of business. So there were plenty of times I was just like, what am I doing? Or if I want to take this to another level, what is it I need to do? And the vending machine business, for example, one of my girlfriend's college friends, he shared with me I can't remember the fellow's name, but he had a vending machine a vending machine business up in Philly. And he had a course in regards to the type of machines you should look into buying, the pros and cons of them, ways of accepting payment, why having a card reader is convenient, all this good stuff, right? And I was like really like just getting started, getting my feet in the door, but I didn't know, again, where to start, what kind of machine should I be getting, where the case may be. He shared with me the course that this gentleman had created, did a little background research on him, seemed to be pretty successful in the field. Had a catalog of content regarding vending machine business itself, ended up investing into the course.
Okay.
And that led me to buying my first vending machine, which got put into the barbershop.
Wow.
And it was because, again, I was like, I don't know where I should be, starting here. And God used my girlfriend's friend to send me something in regards to making sure I'm on the right path.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome, man. So like you're walking, and you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't know, and then you don't have that sort of generational or sort of like connections that are teaching you the way or showing you the way.
Right.
I'm similar too, right? I mean, I'm the first one to really go like into business like this that my family, and so what I see that as is like, you didn't have the awareness of you knew what you were missing. Like you didn't know where to go, but God sort of like led you to that sort of thing. Absolutely. Which then I'm sure even just taking that step to like choosing a mentor and choosing a coaching or going into investing in yourself, really like in a way that's investing in yourself. You're investing your money and time and yourself to basically gain the knowledge, to then put it into implementation.
Absolutely.
And then have the vending machine business. It reminds me of have you heard of Myron Golden?
Yes, love him.
Love him. Myron Golden's the best. Yeah.
He is.
I'm actually doing his Make More Offers challenge this upcoming February.
Nice.
I'll send it to you if you want.
Send it over, please.
Okay, sweet. But if you've ever heard of him say like that be, do, have concept of like, be fruitful, do multiply, and have dominion. Yeah. It sounds like your situation was the same. It's like, first you needed the awareness before you could even become. Yeah. Like you didn't know you needed to become a vending machine owner. Right. Like, or a business owner. Right. In that direction. But you invest in yourself to be, and then you did by doing and buying the vending machine. Yeah. And then you had a vending machine business that, was working. Yeah. And that you could have kept doing it, but your path led you to a different direction. Yeah. Which is, it sounds like it's for the better, right? You're in Florida. Absolutely. Florida is a great place to be. Yeah. I mean, I love Florida. I've lived here for pretty much my whole life. Okay. Almost. I mean, I've traveled around this, that, the other, but Florida is a great place for like real estate and accounting and all that. Yeah. And so, man, that's so cool. So it's like, I'm seeing those principles like in your life, like even in that particular spot. Yeah. That's like a small little stint of it. So is that accurate?
That is very accurate. Yeah. Nice. I was just like, I don't know the ins and outs of a vending machine business. Like, where am I getting started? Where I'm going to get the machine from? You know, who's selling vending machines? How do I know it's going to be a good machine? This and the third. And being led to that mentor and that course taught me that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, like I've also been part of coaching courses and all that, but it's really helped.
Yeah.
Like it does.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day too, it's like, but just to do that, just to make that decision,
right,
that's like a huge hurdle. Like for a lot of people, like myself included, back in the day before Christ, when I didn't have Christ in my heart, back in the day, like I was always so hard to like invest in yourself and make that sort of hurdle. Was it also hard for you, or did you just know that this is the right thing? Because maybe the Spirit led you, or what did you feel like, you know, because there's that like hurdle to invest in yourself for the first time.
Yeah. I would say fortunately for me, the first time, it wasn't that hard of a hurdle at all.
Okay.
You know, I knew like, hey, I lack this in this area.
So you already knew.
Yeah, like I knew like, hey, I need some help here. I need some guidance here.
Help. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like being led to someone who actually has the results and, you know, put in the time and effort to create something that I could reference and gain a lot of information for. It was like, why not?
Yeah.
What am I losing by not investing into it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And why don't you tell me more about like, has God always been there for you in your life? I mean, were you growing up in the church?
Always been there.
Like when did you meet him for the first time?
I knew of God. I didn't know God.
Yes. Okay.
And because I didn't have that personal relationship with him.
Okay.
So I grew up in the church.
Okay.
Yes. And so again, God has always been in my life, been a part of my life.
Sure.
And I knew of him, but I didn't know him. And that's because I lacked that personal relationship. I would say over the past 2, almost 3 years is I took the time to really dive into that relationship with Christ. And just let him have his way. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Like nothing I have is mine.
Dude, welcome to the podcast. That's God's business, brother. This is like, bro, that's so cool. That's what because that you're the perfect kind of person to be on here, because like in general, a business, right?
Yeah.
My business, and it sounds like yours too, based on what you just said.
Yeah.
It's like, it's not my business. It's God's business.
Right.
That's why he gave me the name for the God's Business Podcast, because we're living God's business.
Absolutely.
Right? We're doing his business because, you know, exactly what you said before, it's like stewarding it, right?
Absolutely.
It's like, you know, it's not like when I look at investing, right, in my business or in my, like the money that I earn and then spend or this, that, the other,
right,
like it's easier for me to do that knowing that it's easier, but yet more like I'm more accountable.
Yeah.
Like that's still a word of stewardship,
absolutely.
right? It's like, if I spend it, I know that I'm spending it as long as it's focused on like for example, in the Proverbs, it's like wisdom is greater than rubies,
right,
and gold and all this silver,
right,
you know? And so if I'm spending money to like, in the way that God has like determined us to spend the money, it's like, it's a freeing aspect as an entrepreneur, because like, you know that you're investing in the way that God has told you to invest. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, so that full surrender, especially within business, like it sounds like that. I mean, 2 years, like that's like 2 years ago you said, like, and that's like, you're in business for 2 years.
Yeah.
And so this whole business, your business right now has been God's business.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's amazing.
The other part of that, my first year of business, relating it back to the stewardship, I was not a great steward of the business.
Right.
You know, I wasn't consistent about my marketing, consistent about how I was going to build awareness around my brand, consistent about having other processes within the business. And it wasn't until after that first year, I said, you know, God, have your way with this business. You know, my hands, me trying to do it my way isn't working.
There you go. Yeah.
So have your way with this business and let me know what it is you want me to do. I just want to do my duty and be a good steward of it.
Amazing.
And that's when I started to see things change for my business, because now I'm being held accountable by the Most High in regards to how I'm stewarding.
Amen.
And it reminded me, I was reminded of the story of the 3 men with the gifts. You know, God gave one man 1 gift, one 3 gifts, two or 3 gifts, and the other 5, and one buried their gift.
Right.
And God came back and asked, what have you done with the gift that I gave you? And it's like, we are all capable and made to do something here on this earth, whether we know that or not. And God is going to hold us accountable for the gifts that he's given us. He's going to hold us accountable for being a great steward of the things he's given us stewardship over. So make sure you have something to bring back to him in the kingdom when he comes back and asks you.
Dude, that is 100% the message, and you're living it. And I mean, it sounds like we're very much in the same line, because I mean, I've not met, well, I mean, I do, being in the position that I'm in, right, where he's given me this office. Like when I say he's given me this office, I did not expect this studio. I did not expect anything. If anything, I came to meet with a guy, and I got stood up twice at this office.
Wow.
During that time, I met with Bruce. He's super cool. I'll get him on the podcast at some point. He's super cool. Him and I were talking, and we're talking about God, and we're talking about this, and we're talking about that, and it's just like, it's just like boom. Office came and studio came. And so, it sounds like God will like lead you in like the way for your business and open doors for you if you just fully surrender and fully like are obedient. And it's not a lot of people who, I guess, of this world. And when I say this, like, I've not grown up in the church. Like I have maybe, when I was like 5 years old, like 1 year Bible study or something, like super long time ago.
Okay.
1 year, I'm 33 now. 1 year of my life, Bible study, like 1 year. And then the rest of my life, just like not with Christ, 0%, like gone, like lost as lost could be kind of thing, and it wasn't that I was a bad person. I was always like wanting to do good for the world and for other people. But I just didn't have Christ in my heart and didn't have Christ in my life. And so, the reason why this is the message here and what you just said is so powerful is because there's so many people in business that are either starting businesses, having businesses, or doing business as a whole, or being a leader without God and knowing how to, exactly what you said, allow God to lead their business and surrender and steward it in the way that, he needs you to. And so, a lot of businesses will just like, do this big thing and see all this money and just go after this big shiny object or do all these things and various like directions. But it sounds like, I mean, I'm thankful and grateful to be saved by Christ. And I'm so blessed to be here in general, because I shouldn't be here at all. And I'm so blessed to have this opportunity to help shed that light. And so for your situation, like you're growing your business through God, what made you decide, like if we can dive deeper into that, like at what point were you, because you said you started your business, you weren't doing it your way. What was the pressure like? What was like, because I'm sure there was some sort of like feelings or some sort of like, whether it's financial or business wise, like it just wasn't working. Like what exactly made that turning point, if you don't mind me asking?
The turning point, I would like to say, probably just realizing and understanding that, I was capable. I think there was a lack of confidence at the beginning, being a new business owner, nobody really knowing your name, knowing what you're capable of. So there was that lack of confidence there in the beginning. And again, trying to just do it my way. And my way wasn't consistent. My way wasn't effective. And it was, okay, you've seen the results of doing it your way for a year. You know what I mean? And it was also about me getting more serious about it. How can I say I want to do something and then the action not follow? And so you want to make sure that you're backing your words up with action. And so it led to me saying to God, like, hey, I really want to do something in business, whether it be, with my bookkeeping business or whatever other business venture that you bring my way. But specifically, I want to do something with this business. And it was more to prove to myself that it can be done. but I didn't want to do it without Christ. Because it wouldn't last. It wouldn't last.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
He's the rock.
Yeah, it wouldn't last. And so I surrendered it to him.
Amazing.
Like, that was the turning point, like getting serious about it.
Wow.
You know, I'm serious about being a good steward, being a business owner. I know there are things that I don't know and things I have to learn, but I trust in your timing and your will for my life that whatever it is that I need to figure out, I'll figure out.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, wisdom today is like skills, right?
Yeah.
And then that mastery of yourself, right? Your self-awareness that you're capable of doing whatever it is that God calls you to do.
Yeah.
But that's not enough. It's like you also need Christ to lead you and direct your steps.
Absolutely.
And it reminds me of the I don't know exactly know the Bible verse itself, but it reminds me of the verse like faith without works is dead.
Yep.
You know, and that's what it sounds like with you. Is like you had the faith initially. You believed that it would work. You just didn't necessarily take that action. You didn't do, and you didn't work for that faith.
And there's two parts to that.
Yeah.
It says works.
Oh, works.
With an
Okay.
S on the end.
Okay. Yeah.
Both internal and external.
Okay.
And so I could do the external work, but if I'm not doing the internal work, you know, curating that relationship with Christ, it's defeating itself.
Yeah.
You got to really dive into scripture and understand. I didn't even understand it at first.
Yeah.
When I first read that scripture, I was like, yep, faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? Breaking it down, works, both internal and external.
I love that.
And it changed. That's why my morning routine is so essential. And I started off every morning with a devotional and prayer.
That's amazing. Dude, that's the way to start, right? Yeah. It's like every day is a blessing, and if you start with the best, how can your day get worse? I mean, like it just stays good. It stays good.
My eyelids open, and I'm just ecstatic. Like, you know, another unpromised day. Like God saw a best fit that I wake up to.
Another unpromised day, from snacks to another unpromised day. Dude, you're living a life. You're walking. I love it. It's such a great thing to see business, like a business owner like you come from a period of, learning and growing and sharing that story of like, you didn't know if you were capable. You didn't know anything. You wanted to be a CFO.
Yep.
Right. You wanted to be a CFO, which is not like a bad thing, but you're just not in your purpose.
Yeah.
And because you're like a purpose-driven entrepreneur now, right? You're here serving those that you're called to serve.
Yeah.
The same like with me, like, I'm not getting paid for this podcast. Like I'm not getting, like, I'm just doing the things that, he, provides that I should be doing. And like one of those things is to be heard. And what does that mean? Like, okay, I guess like if I'm talking to other people and we're talking about God, I mean, that's being heard. Right. And so it's just like, you don't know until you do. Right. And he cannot direct your steps, because if you were to say, like, the way I look at it is like, if God was to say, like, lay out the plan of your life and show you everything you need to, like, you're gonna go through to get to the place he's given to you vision and dreams to be as an entrepreneur. Right. If he showed you everything, you probably would run away.
Probably would
run away, screaming and like, yeah, no, that's not for me. This is not a me thing.
Oh yeah.
Right. And but like, he's so good, and he's so, like, he provides that grace. He doesn't necessarily show you the hurdles, but he provides you strength.
Absolutely.
Through every small little step that you take in that direction, that strength will continue to grow. And it's not strength in ourselves, it's strength in him. Yeah. And like, he provides the strength. And the more that we, like, quote unquote, surrender our business and surrender our life to him, it's like, it's a beautiful thing, because now we are becoming more in the spirit. And like, there's a Bible verse, I think it's in John, he must increase and we must decrease.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's like every step we take in business, especially, like and even the multiple failed or multiple business ventures that sort of led us in directions. Yeah. Like how we just talked about it. You went from phone to snacks to learn a certain thing, master a certain aspect of the marketplace, to serve more and serve more and serve more. Yeah. Eventually, like, you're going to be wherever he has intended for you to be. But it sounds like, man, he's leading you in that direction.
Absolutely.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm not a Bible expert per se.
Okay.
Like I believe it or not, I just, when I say I'm new to the faith, like I was saved January 2024.
Okay.
Like a year ago.
A year ago. Yeah.
A year ago.
Yeah.
Nobody saved me. No, like other than Christ. Like Christ himself, like he delivered me from myself.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was that small little faith, that faith of the mustard seed.
Yeah.
Like it was literally that 1 year of Bible study that I knew of God. I led to a period of just like not knowing anything. Like it led me to the end, to the abyss. It led me to the end. And at the end, my soul was for bargain. Right. And at the end, you know, it was literally like, you want fame, you want lust, you want greed, you want all this. I'll give it to you from the enemy.
Yeah.
And then there was this person I didn't even know that was there at the end, and he offered me one thing, love. Yeah. Believe it or not, I didn't take anything. But you know what I did?
Yeah.
I didn't accept anything.
Yeah.
But the way that I was saved was so amazing. Like after the fact, I look back, because I was at the end of the line. I was like done with life. And I have a child, I have a, wife, I have all these things, family.
Yeah.
I just like the pressures of the world without Christ was so deep and so strong. For somebody trying to do good in this world, it's like so wicked. It's so difficult. And so without Christ, our strength alone is not enough.
Yeah.
And I experienced that. And so at the end of the line, I did two things. And I think this goes back to the idea of surrender. Like I did two things. I prayed to God for the first time, because he was the last hope. Like if there was any hope, it was him. Like I couldn't help myself, and nobody in this world could help me.
Right.
I prayed to God for the last time, and I said, God, I am too weak. Please forgive me. Yeah. And I said, the second thing I said, if it's your will that I end my life today, so be it. I leave it up to you. And so like I surrendered my life in that moment. Yeah. In that moment, the person who was offering me love, which I find out was Jesus, he saved me and pulled me from my own abyss. Wow. He pulled me from my own abyss, and he absolutely delivered me from myself in this world. Yeah. And then the month after that, January, it was a period of just like straight bliss. Like we're talking like joy, peace. Like I was shrouded in light nonstop. Yeah. And my mind was so like being reformed in every possible way. Right. But then a period was just struggle after struggle after struggle, which, like it was like so what I meant to say is like, a lot of times when, especially with my story, is like a lot of times when we find Christ or we surrender our life for Christ and we let him lead us in that direction that he needs us to go in our purpose. Right. People may think, like I thought, like before I found Christ, I thought it was like, oh, he's like the magic pill. It's like, it's going to be easy. It's like the easy road. It's like, okay, that's everything else is like, hey, I just say this words and I'm good. Yeah. Right. That's what I thought. I say these words and I'm good. Right. And for my situation, definitely was not like that. It was like, it was a road of just like paved with obstacle after obstacle and like issue after issue, major things that will test the faith, test the spirit, test every bit of it. So like, have you experienced something similar to that, or Absolutely. Would you like to share about that?
Yeah. And the thing, there's a saying that goes, there's nothing new that happens under the sun. Yeah. And even the Bible warns us that tough times are going to come. Like we're not exempt from life happening to any of us. Yeah. And it reminds me of a period where the first or second year I moved to Florida. First, I moved just on faith itself. I had never even visited the state, but my family would come on vacation when I was in college. I wasn't able to join because it was just demanding. I had exams around the time they would go and things of that nature, so I wasn't able to join. So when I got the opportunity to move to Florida, it was like, why not? What do I have to lose to move? I don't have any kids. There's nothing tying me down here. Like, go experience something different. Go experience a different state. get exposed to different cultures and environments and things of that nature. And so first or second year here, I ruptured my Achilles.
Oh my. Okay.
And
yeah, you can't walk then.
Exactly.
Yeah. I tore my Achilles small, and it was painful, super painful. And you cannot even put a little bit of weight on it.
Oh,
I can only imagine, like, if you've ruptured it, like that's like a full cut.
I ruptured it.
Oh,
Still
my
got
gosh.
the scar.
Oh my gosh.
And so my girlfriend, she moved down with me. Thank God for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, thank God for her.
Wow.
I don't brag about her enough, and I need to, but thank God for him putting that woman in my life, because I wouldn't have been able to do it by myself. And if I could, I wouldn't have wanted to.
Right.
So I ruptured my Achilles that first year, and I reflecting back on it now, I think it was just like God sitting me down. Okay. Really sitting me down to like have me really think and reflect on, what it is that I'm doing, what I want to do. But most importantly, it helped me curate a deeper relationship with him. Like you said, none of us are going to be exempt from hard times. Mm-hmm. And when they do happen, when they do come, because they are going to come, mm-hmm. you have to have a solid foundation to be able to stand on or lean on when those tough times do come.
Yeah, it's like a house built on sand.
Oh my God, fall. Yep, a house built on sand will fall. And thank God for that, because again, it allowed me to curate a deeper relationship with Christ, a deeper relationship with my girlfriend, and just showed me it's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you something. Following Christ, it comes at a cost.
And it was before the blessing. Right.
Like that happened before I actually was like really doing anything in my business at all.
Wow.
But it comes at a cost. A lot of the things or habits that I had curated then, I couldn't bring with me in this season. They wouldn't serve me.
Right.
They wouldn't serve me at all. They wouldn't be able to help me or allow me to serve the people and the clients that I have now.
Correct. Yeah.
It wouldn't allow me to glorify God in the way that he needs to be glorified for it.
Right.
And so you have to have that solid foundation, that solid grounding, and knowing that when you do accept Christ in your life, he wants you to be abundant. He wants you to be fruitful, Amen. And multiply. That doesn't mean that you won't be challenged. You will be challenged for sure.
Wow.
You will be.
Yeah. I mean, so both of our situations have been similar, and it's actually similar. Like what you said, there's nothing new under the sun. Like everyone who I've talked to, like in this podcast so far, they have and yes, God is leading them in their business today.
Yeah.
But they've all gone through some like very, very tough times, right? Like some sort of thing. And it was always before the blessing. It was always before, and I love the way Myron puts it. It's like with intention comes disruption.
Absolutely.
Right. It's like disrupt. And so like just even doing this, like this podcast, just releasing the first episode, like it's like such an intense time for me as well. But like, that's in general just par for the course, right? It's just sort of like understanding, and the more you grow with faith, the more your eyes begin to open, and like you get to understand like it's not necessarily a game, but it's more of like you understand the playing field. Yeah, like there's forces against you while you walk in your purpose. Yeah. So, what advice would you give for somebody who wants to connect with God in their business? Maybe they're like on the fence, or maybe they're on the fence about letting God lead them in their business, and like maybe even like telling their clients that they're of faith, or because some people of the world are like, I know that like they'll say like, oh well, we don't talk about God in business, we don't talk about politics in business, right? Like there's these like sort of things that don't say. But what advice would you say for a business owner who wants to let God lead their life and their business?
Why not?
Okay, yeah.
Give them a try. We've given everything else a try. We've given other people a try. We've given our vices, our addictions, our own ambitions a try. Why not give God a try? Why not give Christ a try?
Wow, I love that. Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
What do you have to lose?
Yeah.
Like, what do you have to lose? You've tried everything else.
Yeah.
And it's not working.
Yeah. Dude, that's
if it worked periodically. It was a very short period. Give him a try and watch. Yeah.
And watch.
It makes me think about when you, again, because you're going to face tough times in life and business, whatever aspect of life. Put pressure on God's word. God wants us to remind him of the promises he's made to us.
Wow.
Why not give him a try?
I love that. He has made promises.
He has.
And if we understand those promises.
It would alleviate so much stress, anxiety, worry.
Wow.
If we understood the promises that have been made to us through Christ.
Dude.
And a lot of us don't even understand those promises, which is why we're in some of the predicaments that we're in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. I love that. Why not? Why not? That's powerful, man. That's powerful. I love that.
Thank you.
And then, is there like I don't know if in particular, but like, I'm just curious, just curiosity. Is there like a specific Bible verse that you're like, keen to, that you're like, this is like the way?
Yeah.
Because some people are like, they have a specific verse that reaches them. So is there anything?
Yes. Matthew 7, the effective prayer. Seeking ye shall find, asking it shall be given, knock and it shall be open. For those who seek it, find it. For those who ask, it is given. And for those who knock, it is poured unto them. Wow. That is one of my favorite Bible verses.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
And it just reminds me, what that verse says to me is exactly plainly as it speaks. Ask, seek, knock, and those things are given to you. God wants you to ask questions. God wants you to seek so you can find. It applies to all different things and aspects in our life in general, not only in business. So that's my favorite one.
Dude, yeah. No, I've that verse means a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it very much so. Like, it for me, like, I didn't know Christ.
Yeah.
I didn't even, when I was saved, I didn't know it was him.
Yeah.
I had no idea. But you know what it did? It made me aware that I didn't save myself. Mm-hmm. It made me aware that after I prayed to quote unquote God, I didn't save myself. Right. Something saved me. So to your point, seeking.
Exactly.
Yeah, I seeked the truth.
And you found it.
Yeah, and it led me to Buddhism. It led me to all these things. It led me to all the things that, that was not Christ. But then something kept happening where it's just like, everyone kept mentioning the Bible. It was like Jim Rohn with the Bible, Tony Robbins with the Bible. Like, everyone's with the Bible, Christ. They all give glory to God. And I'm like, what is this?
Right.
And that's when I started reading the Gospels. Mm-hmm. I bought a Bible. My wife, she's great because she's of Christ. She's a believer. Nice. I don't know why she was with me, but she's a believer. Yeah. And she helped me like get a Bible, like $10 online. It was super, super cheap on Amazon. I was like, it got delivered, NIV Bible. I was just like, okay. Yeah. Started reading the Gospels, and that's where I started really finding the truth. And the doors began to open. Like, I knocked at the doors. I prayed to God, and I asked, is it you who saved me? Yeah. What happened? Who is this? And that's where my relationship with Christ began. Yeah. Right? It was like, well, I mean, it was my own abyss, but like, I didn't know it was him. Right. But he was still loved. Even if you don't know him, even if you don't know God and Christ, he is faithful to you, even if you're not faithful to him. Yeah. And so it's only a matter of time. And as long as you are seeking, right, the truth, and because he is the way, the truth, and the life. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. Exactly. And it's just like, it's mind blowing. It really is mind blowing. And my life has never been the same since. Yeah. Ever, like, the addictions I've had, the things that I've, didn't serve me and my purpose, those were stripped out of me. Yeah. The ego, the pride, I was humbled, like, very deeply. And there's all kinds of things that happened to like set the fruits of the Spirit to where it is today. Yeah. To come into the purpose that he has. Right. Because that's the thing, is like, you can't, have the world and have God as well.
Exactly. It don't cost you something.
It'll cost you. Yeah, it'll cost you.
But what you'll gain is far more greater than what you lose.
Amazing. So is there anything that you want to like tell the audience, or like, you know, any advice that you give to anyone, anything else? Like, we'll try to wrap up, but like what's something that's like deep on your spirit that you feel like, I'm an aspiring entrepreneur, I'm a business owner that just started my business. Mm-hmm. I never let God in my life, you know, or I'm a business owner struggling today to find the way. Right. You know, what advice would you give if you were to give advice?
One, get around a community or get involved in a community of people or other believers, because we're not meant to try to do this on our own in this world. So it's very important that, you know, the company you surround yourself with are of individuals that have a standard, that hold you to a standard. And especially as a Christian, being around other Christians, because essentially they're going to hold you to the standard of that. So I would definitely say, don't try to do it by yourself. You know, get involved in the community, get part of a Bible study group, you know, start there. You don't have to have it all figured out, you know, especially first starting out. That was one of the biggest things I think I struggled with as well, is I thought I had to have it all figured out when I first started. Mm. And you don't. You know, you're going to learn, you're going to make mistakes along the way that are going to help you be better and improve. So don't try to be perfect. Just be you, and be willing to get better. Be willing to take constructive criticism, you know, and what you don't understand, what you're struggling with, be vulnerable with God about that. Mm-hmm. You know, he wants to hear that. You know, you saying, God, I'm mad at you. I'm feeling weak in this area. I don't feel like you're providing or showing me the light in regards to my business in this aspect, like you said you would. He wants to hear that. He wants you to bring that to him and lay it at the altar so he can help you with it. Mm-hmm. You know, don't try to hang on to all of that baggage in your heart and try to do it by yourself, because it will bring you down a lot faster. So that would be some advice starting out for sure.
Yeah. No, the community aspect is huge, you know, and also like it sort of leads into the principle of like feed your mind proper. Yeah. Like information that comes in will like help, like versus like Netflix or versus like things like that. Just whether it's this podcast, right? You know, talking about God and business, and maybe there's something inspirational that would like pop out to somebody to help them, like these nuggets of information. Or it's like, for example, Myron, right? Yeah. He talks about biblical principles in his business and business. And so it's just like, you know, this community doesn't necessarily need to be in person always. Correct. Right? It could also be the community around you that you're feeding your mind with. Yeah. And I think that's the principle. It's like, make sure that whatever is inputted in is, you know, is good influence for your life with Christ. Yeah. And in the Bible study too. Like I don't know if I've invited you. Have I invited you to the WhatsApp Bible study?
I don't think so.
If not, I'm going to invite you. Okay. You're more than welcome to join. Okay. What it is this like, I have a little like a spirit-led, fully spirit-led, like it's not automated. People are like, dude, is this automated? Yeah. I'm like, no, 0% automated. I'm posting every day because like I'm on a journey to better understand the Bible. Yeah. Like I'm so new to, like a year in, right? I'm so new to the faith. Yeah. And I need to understand the Bible. And I'm reading it myself still, you know, throughout the whole Bible. But you know, the Spirit will lead me throughout the day to like different verses, like the one you mentioned, Matthew 7, right? Seek first. These verses will like, they'll lead throughout the day, and then I post it there. And so people have found that super useful as well. Yeah. So I'll invite you if that's of any use to you. Yeah, absolutely. Because it's like, it's not an app that'll give a verse a day. It's not this, that, the other. It's just it's just a WhatsApp group that I'll just post, and you know, people are seeing that. So it's just like surrounding yourself with the Word of God, whether that, because some people will say like, oh, well, that inspired me to go to the Bible. That inspired me to see this, like actually see it for themselves. And when they're in the Bible, they're like understanding the Word of God, and God will lead them to the right message. Absolutely. Right. And so I'm not taking any credit for any of that. Like, it's just, I do it for myself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like the community itself, like if you know, because like my family, like my sort of like situation was like wasn't around people like
Gotcha.
that were of Christ, that were like, because you know I was, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like it wasn't as openly discussed, and still to this day, like I still have people within the family that are like against the light.
Yeah.
Because they can't comprehend it.
Yeah.
Right? They're against it. And so I don't fault them for it.
Yeah.
I try to help them understand more.
Yeah.
But surrounding yourself with the right influences, surrounding yourself with the right inputs to your life.
Absolutely.
Like what you said, the works with S.
Yeah.
The internal, the external. So if you're fixing the internal and you're fixing your body, your temple for the spirit, you're fueling the spirit internally.
It'll be a reflection on the outside.
Exactly. And that reflection is unique to everybody, right?
Absolutely.
And so for entrepreneurs and kingdom builders, right, that reflection itself is like your business.
Yeah.
It can be your business.
It can be.
Right?
Absolutely.
Or that reflection could be art. That reflection could be, various things for other people. So it's just like, yeah, man, that's exciting. That's so cool. That's so cool what you just mentioned.
Thank you.
Because I agree. And I think he's there for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you just let him lead your business and your life.
Yeah.
Right? It is all one in one. So
it is.
Cool. But yeah, man, I think the last thing I ask my guests to do is like to just look at the camera.
Okay.
And say your name in a cool way. Okay. Introduce yourself, kind of. And say that this is God's business, and then pause podcast.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
How's it going, everyone? I'm Marcus McMorris, your favorite financial therapist, savvy bookkeeper, and this is God's Business Podcast.
Very nice, very nice. Marcus, it's a pleasure, my friend. That's exciting.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
That's so cool.
Yes, sir.
What'd you think?
No, that was so good.